welcome back to another episode of Inside Access Control. Excited to have Gregory Blondeau with me. He's the CEO of Proxyclick. He's doing some very interesting stuff that in the access control world, I think we're going to hear a lot bit more about.
So good to be here, Lee. Thanks for the invite. So my name is Gregory Blondeau. I'm the CEO and the founder of Proxyclick. The company was founded 10 years ago in Europe, in Brussels. We currently have offices in Asia and in the US. I'm based out of New York. Really, it's all about the way people are welcomed into the office. We think that needs to change. How often did you arrive on time at the front desk and late in the meeting room? At the same time, you need to guarantee security and safety at the front desk. Visitor management is about that piece of software that streamlines that process between the arrival of the visitor that needs to check in on a tablet, the integration with the access control, with the Wi-Fi system to give a Wi-Fi code to the visitor, with the meeting room management in order to make sure that the meeting room is connected to that process. So that's what we do really. We are that missing piece of software between all of these existing processes in order to streamline the access of visitors. We've been doing that for many years now. We have companies like Vodafone, Revolut, L'Oreal, Airbnb using our system to check in their visitors in one or multiple locations across the globe. We have, I think, 7,000 or 8,000 companies using the system across the globe. And that is in more than 110 countries, I think.
How have you typically gone to market? Do you go through a dealer channel? Do you go direct to the...
It's mostly driven by inbound requests. So when we started, we actually had several modules and we landed on visitor management in 2014. Focusing only on that since then. We saw requests from across the globe, companies that needed to improve the way they check in their visitors. Now, what has changed is that initially the market was driven by convenience, as you said, brand, replacing paper by a tablet. And now it's much more driven by security, by privacy at the front desk. And so the market is shifting towards a more central decision-making as well. Initially, it was a local facility manager who would decide to deploy Proxyclick for one or multiple locations in his country. And now it's much more going into the headquarters of the organization to look at it from a more global perspective to improve and increase the security offices and production sites.
So coming from the security-centric side, if you would, the visitor management side was seen as sort of a feature that it wasn't really about convenience at that point. It was just more about policy-driven, like it was heavy security. Where on your end, you started, as you said, as somebody who wanted to have a better experience at their front desk or the lobby and is now driving more. So I think that's the classic definition of convergence in a lot of ways of what's happening now, as well as it's maturing, if you would. So where visitor management is seeing to be more than just a digitized clipboard that had a fancy logo. Now it's actually an integral part of how you drive safety throughout, and you can deliver convenience. Part of the reason why we're seeing more attention towards it, and why I'm personally, like myself, and I know you are, but we're sort of bullish on this being sort of that next wave of interfaces that drives security systems, adoption, selection, whatever it might be.
That also makes sense. Access control, by definition, comes from the inside of a building. It's about protecting the access to the building, while visitor management comes from the outside. It comes from visitor. And so I'm passionate about the way tech solves problems for people. And so a visitor is someone that comes in and needs to be welcomed, of course, and he needs to feel safe. He needs to make sure that his data is protected. He needs to access the building, of course, but we're looking at it from a different angle. So we're looking for that software to help the people enter the building and not only securing the premises. So it's two different dimensions that are now meeting and working together.
What is the typical customer that you do serve?
So initially, when it was only about brand and about replacing paper logbook by a tablet, it came from all directions. We have customers that are fitness centers, schools, university, hospitals, small, large organizations, but more and more, and that's where we come from, the team and myself. We are enterprise people. We are B2B people. So our software is meant for enterprise organization mainly, and that's where the market is also taking us. We see that happening with the complexity of the offering. The only companies that are really interested in that are these large organizations that we are serving every day.
Is there anything that you need or your company's looking for?
Yes, if there is one thing that I would like, nothing more, is raising awareness about the importance of visitor management. It's not a nice to have. I think the COVID-19 crisis proves it. It is critical for organizations to protect the access to their premises. It's more important than ever, actually. I would love to engage with more and more access control vendors, to work together with them to allow that streamlined process from visitors to check in into access control to happen. Let us focus on the people interaction. Let us focus on that software experience, and let's work together with the access control vendors to optimize that workflow.
If people want to contact you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
They can reach me on LinkedIn, or they can go on our website, contact form, and just reach out to us.
Well, I'm a firm believer that one of the phase changes is, and I've written about how the visitor management systems, I believe, are the Trojan horses into the future of what access control will look like. So I appreciate you spending the time. I love what your product's doing, the energy that your team puts behind it. I've engaged with a handful of them, so very high spirited and seem to be really good subject matter experts. So I appreciate what you're doing. Yeah, definitely passionate. So thank you for taking the time, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks, Audley.